Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today I will be welcoming a very special guest that I am just so excited to interview. You all know him as Mike in Klowns From Outer Space, Grant Cramer. I met Grant 2 weeks ago at Sinister Creature Con in Sacramento, and he was a really nice guy, just a real prince. I loved meeting him. And I'm going to have him on in just a moment and talk about that movie, talk about some of his other roles like Hardbodies and New Year's Evil and a bunch of others and stuff. And it's going to be pretty cool. He's a very nice guy. And I can't wait. It's going to be pretty cool. Yeah. Also, his mother was married to Howard Hughes, too, at some point. And I'm going to ask about that, too. And so, yeah. It's going to be frigging awesome. So here is my interview with Grant Kramer.
Hello.
Hey, Grant.
Tommy.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I don't know why your phone wasn't ringing.
Yeah.
It was, it would ring and ring and ring and ring, and then it would come on with a message that says the voicemail isn't set up yet. So.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, a couple people have told me that before. I don't know what it is. I guess certain phones, I just can't call it, I guess.
I guess so. No worries. You guys.
Yeah. Well, it's such an honor. I thank you for taking your time right now on such short notice.
Not at all. Happy to.
So did you know early on that you wanted to be an actor and be in showbiz?
Well, early on, I guess I was probably about, 17 when I kind of got with the bug. I was around it growing up because my mom was an actress, but I was more into kind of like sports and girls and partying, and I never really got into acting. And then when I was about 17, I kind of started teasing around a little bit, and kind of got bit by the bug, and then I got very into it.
Mm-hmm. Your mother was Terry Copley?
No, Terry Moore.
Terry
Copley is a family friend, and was in actually my first movie I ever did. But no, Terry Moore is my mom.
That's right, Terry Moore. Sorry, I get the two confused. Yeah, I remember when I first got the Killer Klowns DVD 15 years ago or so. There was some trivia written in the back of the DVD, and it said that your mother had been married to Howard Hughes.
That's true. Yep, she was married to Howard Hughes many years ago, and so I kind of grew up around the business. Lots of kind of famous, Hollywood friends growing up and things like that. But that was all before. That was all before I decided to become an actor myself.
Mm-hmm. But did you got to meet him and everything?
Oh yeah. Because listen, a lot of them I met before I knew they were famous. You know what I mean? Because as a little kid, people like John Wayne and Cary Grant would be over at the house, but I didn't know. You know what I mean? You don't kind of start figuring that stuff out. There was no social media back then.
Yeah.
So it's not like now where I think probably everybody knows everybody is by the time they're like 8 or something, right? But it took a little longer back then.
Oh, that's amazing! Wow.
Yeah.
So
I remember my mom would always bring over these movie stars and to the house, and I was really into professional wrestling when I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a guy named Mr. Universe Earl Maynard. She'd bring over all these big famous movie stars, and all I would say is I want to meet. I'd list off my famous wrestlers. Killer Kowalski and all these guys, and so. But my favorite was Mr. Universe Earl Maynard. I don't know if you know who he was, but have you ever saw the movie The Deep?
Oh, with Nick Nolte?
with Nick Nolte, and remember he was like the bodyguard for the bad guys, and he has that big fight with that ends up with like the chain and chainsaw and all that stuff with gosh, he used to be a friend of mine. I think his name is Bob Tessa or something like that. You know, the big bald, the big black muscular guy and the big
Bob Tessier.
Yeah, Bob Tessier. He used to be a friend of mine too. So one day I showed up and one day she brought Earl Maynard over to the house, and I was so impressed by him.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, but I was a little kid, and he was like my wrestling hero, and had huge, big biceps that I could kind of like hang on, and my brother and I were like, it was a kick.
Nice. Wow. That's just amazing. So your first movie was New Year's Evil.
Yes.
Yes. A classic horror movie.
The classic Elvira for many years horror movie, right? On New Year's Eve.
Yep. Oh my God. It's got a great cast in it. Kip Niven, Roz Kelly, Louisa Moritz. Wow. It's a great cast.
And Terry Copley.
And Terry Copley, yeah.
Yeah, she plays like she's topless in the movie and gets killed.
Mm-hmm.
She probably hates that I told anybody she's in that. I think she's embarrassed about it.
Wow, it's a canon movie. So was it just a standard audition that got you in? I knew a couple of the guys. There was a guy I was taking an acting class, and there was a guy who was, working on the movie as like a line producer. Right.
And he said, you'd be right for this part that this movie I'm about to work on. They're casting over at Canon Films, and I went in there, and I was so psyched up to have an audition, and I remember I went in there and I made some kind of very, I guess you'd consider them from an acting point of view, kind of dangerous choices. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole thing with smearing I don't know if you remember that movie where I kind of, I'm supposed to have this kind of Oedipus thing with my mother, and so I look in the mirror and I kind of rubbing her stockings on my face, and then I cut the stocking up and then pull it over my face, and that was just all kind of stuff I made up and did for the audition, and then they really liked it, and I got the new draft of the script, and they'd written it all in the script.
Wow. Yeah, I saw the movie at least once years ago.
But I remember that there was a bunch of people waiting in the room outside, in the waiting room, and they had to tell them to go home because after I finished my thing, I guess I freaked them out so much by smearing this lipstick on my face, red lipstick on my face, and cutting up this stocking with a razor or switchblade or whatever I used, and the director and the producer kind of stood there staring at me for a minute, and then one of them looked at the other one and went, "Commit him." Like, in other words, commit me to a seance silence. And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'll see you later." They, no, you got the part. I walked out, tell everybody else to go home.
Wow, that's awesome. So that was a good experience, though?
Yeah, it was a good experience.
Wow. And then the classic Hardbodies, which you have bleach blonde hair in it.
Yeah, that was kind of a fluky thing because Eric Stoltz was cast in that movie.
Oh.
And if you know, that's the reason why they cast Courtney Gaines as it turned out in the movie they called him my cousin or my best friend or something like that. But originally he was supposed to be my brother, and he was cast because he was supposed to be Courtney Gaines' brother. The two guys with the red hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then Eric got a movie, not some other movie that he wanted to do instead of Hardbodies, and they just kind of did an audition at the final hour, or, like, oh my God, we got to find an actor to play this thing. And I went in, and I remember I had like 103 temperature or something like that. And I thought, oh my God, I can't even get out of bed. But my agent said, no, I need to cast this part in a hurry, so you better get over there. And I did, and I got the job.
Nice. So. Nice. Yeah, I was reading that it was like a movie that Playboy made, and then they like sold it to Columbia.
Playboy was involved with it maybe in some way, but no, it was actually a Roger Corman movie.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a Roger Corman movie, and I can't remember what the name of the company was, but it was one of his companies. It was definitely his company, and Roger was on the set, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, it was never really publicized as a Roger Corman movie, and then after it was made, it was picked up and distributed by Columbia Pictures.
I see. Yeah, I'm actually interviewing Crystal Martell tomorrow.
Playboy was involved because Playboy had run the story called Hardbodies in the magazine. I remember. About the older guys picking up the girls with the tanned hard bodies at the beach and all that kind of thing, and so they had just been involved because obviously somebody had to go and get the rights to them to this article that it got turned into a screenplay.
Nice, I see. Yeah, tomorrow I'm interviewing Crystal Martell.
Oh, really? Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. What was Christy Summers like? I remember being very nice. Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we became good pals outside of the movie, but I remember her being very nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's one of those ones that that's like on the wish list that I've been trying to search for and stuff, and haven't been able to find her. I hope I get to.
But some of she might I never really heard about her afterwards. Just like Teal Roberts, kind of faded away after that.
She passed away last year.
Oh, she did?
Yeah. I don't know.
I did not know that.
I don't know from what, but yeah, I was looking on her IMDb. She passed away last year.
No, I did not know that. Obviously, I think probably Darcy DeMoss ended up, probably doing the most of the girls that were in the movie. I'm trying to think of who else.
Yeah, I reached out to her. Yeah.
Yeah, Darcy, went on to do Can't Buy Me Love and some other movies.
Yeah. The Kathleen Kinmont's the girl on the roller skates. I've interviewed her 3 times. She's a lot of fun. Yeah,
she and I actually, she kind of became boyfriend and girlfriend after the movie for about a year, and then we broke up when I found out that she had cheated on me with Lorenzo Lamas, who she ended up marrying and having a kid with, and then leaving him and cheating on him. So.
Well, she told me she was always dating her co-stars,
Yeah.
I love her though. She's a lot of fun.
Yeah, she always had a fun personality.
Mm-hmm. And now comes Killer Klowns from Outer Space, the role you'll probably have on your tombstone someday.
Yeah, no, out of all of them, Killer Klowns ended up being the one that, because it had, Hardbodies had its own kind of cult status.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of faded out as things do, and Killer Klowns just is like that little movie that just kept on. I think still to this day, I think it keeps on growing, if anything, in terms of its kind of cult following and popularity. It's the one that didn't ever fade away.
Yeah, I was about 6 years old when I saw it on HBO. I remember I was home alone on a Saturday afternoon, and I fell in love with it right away. And then a couple days later, it was on again, and I told my dad, you got to see this movie. And he did. He was laughing hysterically, and just my dad's a big John Vernon fan. He's a big Animal House guy, and so he loved seeing John Vernon in the movie.
Oh, yeah, it was John Burnham's too, so it was fun getting a chance to work with him.
Yeah, that guy was great in everything he was ever in.
Yeah, he had one of the most classic voices of all time, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the best. That authoritative.
Josie Wales.
Yeah, that authoritative voice, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great voice. Yeah, that was kind of fun. Royal Dana, working with Royal Dana was.
Yeah.
I don't think have any scenes with him, but just being able to be on the set with him was kind of fun.
Yeah, he was another good one. Yeah, you and Suzanne worked really great together, you know, and it was great seeing the two of you at Sinister Creature Con.
Yeah, I mean, she's great. Suzanne is kind of almost like my sister, so we've stayed really close over the years, and she's a really very good friend.
Mm-hmm. And what were the Kyoto brothers like?
The Kyoto brothers are great. I mean, you know, they were kind of the same back then as they are now. You know, they're you know, funny, and they're smart, creative, funny, and they bicker like little kid brothers all the time. You know, people are always, when they see them, if they've ever worked with, when anybody who works with the Kyoto, I think at the beginning you're like going, oh no, I hope these guys aren't getting in a fight, blowing us all up. It's like never speak to each other because they get in like yelling arguments and stuff like that. And but you know, I would tell everybody, no, don't worry, they've been doing this since they were you know, born and making videos in the backyard. So or Super 8 movies in the backyard. So that's just the way they are. They're just three brothers that love each other and love working together, but they fight like, you know, cats and dogs.
Yeah. And they come from that animation background, you know, they did Large Marge and Pee-wee's Big Adventure and stuff.
Yeah, they still do. I mean, that's their day job, is still doing, you know, just lots of you know, stop motion animation and creature effects and things like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, you know, they're one of the last real holdouts of the old school effects, and that's how they still make their living while they're trying to get you know, their own projects off the ground. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whenever I'm in Santa Cruz, I say, oh man, I'm in Killer Clown Town.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what I think about it as too.
Yeah, what was Christopher Titus like in those days?
You know, he only played a small part. I remember him being kind of like a nice guy. You know, I didn't really get to know him other than the fact I just, you know, that I met him. He worked for like a few days, and he was an unknown actor at the time. So we've never, you know, other than the fact that I think we like followed each other on Twitter or something like that, I haven't really stayed in very much in touch with him because, you know, like I said, he only worked a few days, so it wasn't like a real bond forged, but he was a nice guy. Mm-hmm.
And those two guys that play the Terenzi brothers are hilarious. I mean, were they a lot of fun on the set?
Yeah. I mean, they were actually kind of they were actually a comedy team.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, they hung out together all the time, and you know, they were kind of like a lot of comedians. They were kind of almost always working on the routine, even when you were hanging out with them. So they were always funny and always, you know, you know, kind of keeping the jokes rolling. So they were a lot of fun to work with, and they're still really, you know, super nice guys.
Mm-hmm. I'd never really seen them in anything else.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they moved to the UK or something. I think they still live in the UK.
Oh.
When we had this big kind of screening concert, I don't know if you heard about it a couple months ago.
I think so.
They did a whole thing with the Dickie. We did a whole thing. John Massari, who composed the music on the film, spent about 2 years organizing this special screening of the film, where he got a Philharmonic Orchestra to play live and had the Dickies playing the theme song on stage, and we had this great fun night screening at this show, and the Terenzi brothers basically taped a like a hello to the fans that were there to see the movie that they showed before it started.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like I said, once again, thanks to social media, I'll get a message from them every once in a while or send them one or something like that. But I haven't really seen them in person since back when we made the movie, practically.
Mm-hmm. And John Allen Nelson, he's still working here and there and stuff. You ever run into him?
No. As a matter of fact, I know that literally the Kyotos have tried to reach out to him, and Suzanne's tried to reach out to him. Different people have tried to reach out to him, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, but he's never. Suzanne and I and the Kyotos and everybody else has always kind of stayed. We've always kind of had this connection through the movie, and then I don't know how many years ago it was, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I started getting asked to go to conventions, and a lot of the time, I always go with Suzanne, and I kind of look at it as our opportunity to hang out together, and a lot of the time the Kyotos are there with us, and we're all pals and friends, but we always talk about the fact that nobody has ever heard from John Allen Nelson, so maybe he just put the movie behind him and never looked back, or it's hard to say because he hasn't stayed in contact with anybody. He's kind of the missing link. Everybody always jokes that if he ever shows up to a convention, he'll make a lot of money because everybody is going to have the posters and the pictures and things like that with his autograph being the only one of the major people that wasn't that's never been able to sign.
Yeah, I've met a lot of people who have, those missing links from their cult movies, and, it's kind of sad. Some of them are either bitter about the past or nobody just can't locate them,
Well, listen, I don't know. A lot of us back then, had dreams of having, big legitimate careers and, so for a while, he may have been embarrassed that, trying to get bigger and better stuff, that people would go, oh, you're the guy from Klowns From Outer Space. But at a certain point, you kind of just embrace it and you realize that it was a fun time and it's a fun movie and people love it. But like I said, I can't speak for why John has kind of disappeared, other than the fact that he might, probably just has other stuff going on. But I don't know. I haven't heard from him, and I saw for a while back that he was producing and writing some stuff, and I check up on him once in a while, and I haven't asked him in anything or seen any kind of press announcements about him for a long time. So I don't know. Maybe he's not in the business at all anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's quite possible. You even went into producing.
Yeah, it kind of roundabout it. I started writing, and then the producing kind of naturally extended from the writing. The writing was originally just to kind of create parts for me as an actor. But when I started writing, I realized I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed not having to go and audition for people. And then from there, the producing kind of came naturally. You sell a script to somebody, and it's not their movie. They've optioned a lot of other movies, so when they have a disappointment or two, they give up on it. So I started picking up the phone and making calls, and the next thing you know, you're producing as well. It's just kind of one thing leads to another.
Yeah, I noticed you were an associate producer on Beverly Hills Brats.
Well, yes, and that's actually a movie that my mom and I produced together, along with the Sheens, because the Sheens were family friends.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you notice, Janet Sheen, Martin Sheen's wife, is the other associate producer.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, Janet and I did all the hard work on the movie, and we got the crappy credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we showed up and busted our butts every day, and got none of the credit for the good stuff and blamed for all the bad stuff. But that's how you cut your teeth as a producer.
Yeah, it's a bad movie, but it's got such a great cast.
Exactly. I mean, the movie, we made it for nothing. I mean, literally a family friend put up the money for it, and I think we made the whole movie for like $1 million. And I think it's just kind of like I mean, I haven't seen it in so many years. It's just kind of a silly little movie, right?
Yeah. You even got Mrs.
I'm like, oh, Bob Tessier's in that movie.
Yes, he is. And Mrs. Howell.
And Mrs. Howell, Natalie Schaefer.
Yeah. Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg. I mean,
almost everybody that's in that movie were kind of friends of ours that we hired, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, half of the people came from the Sheen and the Kramer family, and then the rest were a lot of friends of ours. You know, Joe Santos was one of my really good friends, and you know, so it was still a lot of fun because it was the first movie that I was really involved as a producer, and you know, we were working with good friends, and it was fun. Shot it in L.A.
Whoopi Goldberg had a cameo. He was just
Whoopi had a cameo in it. That's right.
Yeah, it's a great cast and stuff. It's one of those things that happen. You know,
Peter Billingsley, you know, from the lead of it is, you know, the kid from Christmas Story. And,
yep.
You know, he's got a career as a director now.
Yeah, I heard he was a director. Yeah, that's crazy. And Hangfire, you did.
Yeah, Hangfire. Some of those movies were kind of like when my acting career was kind of petering out, and I wasn't really getting much. And then, you know, people that liked me would call me up and say, "Hey, will you come and do this?" So, you know, Hangfire wasn't like a labor of love or anything like that, but it was. I'm trying to remember which one Hangfire was. Is that the one with the prisoners and all that stuff?
Yeah, with Brad Davis. He's like a hostage.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Brad Davis and
Ken Foree.
That's right. You know, it's funny because you know who was in that movie? I believe was Ken Foree.
Yeah, Ken Foree.
Who was sitting right across from me, and I was like, "Man, you remember we did that movie Hangfire years ago?"
Yeah. I enjoyed him. He was a lot of fun.
We met. Yeah, a lot of people were in that. Jan Michael Vincent, and of course Brad Davis, who was the star of Midnight Express, and Lou Ferrigno and Lyle Alzado and
Peter Lupus.
Yeah, oh God, yeah, there was a lot of people in that movie.
Yeah, George Kennedy. Wow.
The fact of the matter is that actors want to work.
Yeah.
So people sometimes go, why is that actor doing that? Why aren't all those actors doing that movie? Well, you know, the fact of the matter is that that's what we do, and so obviously everybody would like to be getting offered, you know, the best and the finest, you know, parts there is. But if you're not, you still want to work doing what you do, and so,
right.
You know, even a movie like that had a lot of well-known actors in it.
Yep. And you're in the process of doing a Killer Klowns reboot. Yeah,
I mean, you know, we've had a lot of starts and stops with it. So, and the Kyotos and I developed the movie, a version of a reboot that we got pretty close to getting made, I think. But now, the last I spoke to the Kyotos, they might be working with some of the people over at MGM to develop something that is totally separate from the project that we developed. So I'm not exactly sure if I would be involved with that at all. You know, obviously I would love to be, but I'm just not sure what direction they're going with it, and they didn't involve me in the creative part. I think basically the Kyotos found out that MGM was maybe developing something on their own and said, well, you know, we're better to be involved in some capacity rather than saying, oh, no, we want to do our own thing. So I'm a little disappointed that because I just have a feeling that I know that the Kyotos and I, we were really kind of putting together something that we thought would be really great, and I'm just not sure what is being developed now. I still have a hope that down the road we'll be able to make the movie that we developed because I think it's really fun and really good.
Yeah,
I'm not sure at this point.
But I hope that comes to fruition. That would be great to see a new one. Real quickly, Grant, do you have any upcoming convention appearances you want to plug?
You I know I've got a couple coming up, but I'm not sure what they are at this point. So I usually only do about a convention a year or so. But I'm sure I'll probably do at least one or two conventions this coming year, I would imagine. And I got a text, I think, saying that I had a convention that was going to be coming up, but they didn't send me the info where it is and what it would do yet. There's one in Texas that I hear is really good that I've never done before, so I'm hoping it's that one. You know which one is the Texas, the big one, the Fright?
Oh, yeah, Texas Frightmare. That's usually around May.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that one.
Nice.
Because I've never done that before, so I think it'd be kind of fun to go there. I heard it's a good. Have you been to that one?
No, I've heard, but I heard it's really good though because they get the best people there every year.
Yeah, I mean that would be a lot of fun to go to that one. But no, I don't have any. No, to plug, unfortunately.
Well, that's all right because we will all keep an eye out for you in the future. And Grant, I thank you so much for taking the time at last minute tonight to do this. And hope you have a happy Halloween, happy rest of the year holidays. And
well, thank you. You too, man. Have a happy Halloween, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that kind of stuff. And thanks for having me do your podcast with you.
My pleasure. Talk to you again.
Sounds good. My pleasure too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Grant Kramer. Ain't he a cool dude? Thank you so much, Grant. You're a really nice guy. I appreciate your time at last minute tonight. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, add me as a friend on Facebook, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes!